first couple times.
We were talking about Nicole's vision about the cow and the sowing the seed. I was just projecting a little bit, not sure. It's some impression, not necessarily direct revelation. Has something to do with the king of farm, but I don't know, not really sure. So I always present that to Prima. I'm waiting for her input. She actually the one found it, sent to me. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
She was on the site or what? She just saw it on the website or?
No, she was chatting with me. We have some powerful prayer time. The day before May, so that's the last day of April. She actually saw a lot of things. I'm still balancing. Should I relate to you or not? Some of my wonderful things. But you had some input from that vision. I want to hear a little bit. So give some key points. This is Team Pinson.
Yeah. So stepping back a little bit, we had initially talked about the dust cloud, which in the vision Nicole describes as a mystery to her, or as a mystery being unfolded.
Yeah.
And it came from the heavens, which may initially give the impression that it's from God, but I think that what has happened in this,
I feel that things were ominous. Is that right? Ominous?
Well, and this is what's interesting, even in correlation to Revelation 12, where the enemy is cast down from the heavens. Something that immediately is brought to the forefront of my mind is when there is a battle, if you look at the battlefield from a higher perspective, it's a big dust bowl. Especially in the former days, because the armies are coming together and clashing and stirring everything up. Now, I don't know if you watched much of cartoons, but whenever there was battle
engagement,
it was just a big dust bowl. That's all it was. And you'd see a sword come out and an arm and a leg. But that's what a brawl was.
I see.
Now, Revelation says that Michael overcame and that the enemy was cast down to the earth. Now that would mean the opening of one realm to the other, because he was...
Well, that's in line up with everything Prima saw.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What's Prima saw is give it legit. She saw the correlation of the sound.
Of the what?
Correlation, like become a king, you have a coronation
okay.
of a song. She actually saw me in the whole process. It's a mighty thing. I think you should listen to it, because I think open up your statements talking about the strategic relationship, so two of us. I think that's true. So I was expecting you to come to talk to me. I totally forgot we have a arrangement.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So then you showed up. So I expect you to talk to me as soon as possible before anything disturbs us. So there you go. So
well, that's why I wanted to do it now instead of Tuesday, so that we could actually set some apart.
It's amazing how God does it. He's answer prayers. I know you're so busy. I can't, ask you to just, change your schedule, do things. So I say, well, that's interesting.
Well, the Lord knows.
Yeah. So it's a tragic time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, let me not disturb you. You finish the vision and we move on with other things.
Sure. Yeah. So I was. I think that the opening up of the heavens and that vision is, the pouring, the dust. The mystery, if it were, is that the majority of mankind has no clue what's going on in the heavenly realms. Yeah. That's the mystery.
Yeah. So
when this opens up, it's just confusion and lack of understanding.
See, it's literally the whole thing is they're enslaved by a system. They never know it's actually they're slave to the system. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And so you also see falling down, which is an interesting perspective. The engine, the bricks, what we're seeing is a direct impact on the industries of man. Yeah. And I don't just mean from an economic, I mean the way that mankind thinks that things need to be done.
Yeah.
Ben was telling me the other day that as he talked with distributors or his vendors.
Yes.
That supply food and supply paper goods and whatever else. There's been a huge exposure of the disconnected nature of the system, which the exposure isn't that it's disconnected. The exposure is where the focus has been. So we had when the coronavirus first released, we had this massive shortage of what? Toilet paper, paper goods, cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
But what they found was that was only in the retail stores. Okay?
Yeah.
And so and somewhat for the food too, it was in the retail stores. Why? Because the two supply chains are not connected at all.
Yeah.
The supply chain that was supplying toilet paper and cleaning to the big companies and their buildings, those never ran out. They were fine because nobody was there.
Yeah.
But because all those people that would be there were now having to use the same supplies at home, and it's supplied from a different supply chain. Then it was all used up. And so what's interesting, what it exposes is that it's the same goods, but the way that the development of this industrialized society, the more that they became centered on efficiency and profit, the further separated they became of the needs that they were supplying.
Of production. That's
right.
Because efficiency,
right.
Assembly line stories.
Make more money.
Yeah.
That's just all. And so now, the interesting thing about it all is, which is not a new crisis in our world, is not that we have an actual shortage. It's that
the supply.
What governs it? It doesn't care.
Yes. It's based on calculation of profit. It does not really keep based on human needs or human.
So humans are starving. Farmers are throwing away food.
Yes, guys.
We have a fuel shortage, but the fuel companies are throwing it away. So there is no lack of supply.
It's the whole inability of a human to govern themselves in the sense exposed.
Right.
It's happening in the Great Depression time,
Right.
So,
a lot of similarities.
Yeah. Because they have to throw it away because if they supply, nobody able to buy it.
Right.
The food cannot be stored just endlessly there, so they have to throw it away. So
I've heard of some farmers starting their own co-ops to sell food directly to people instead of to the big companies.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
But anyway, I think there's a lot of representation
you
there.
done with that Norwegian?
No, because we didn't talk about the first part.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I think all of this is kind of contained into the cloud that was opened up. But one of the things that I was thinking about particularly was the way that the seed was planted, the comparison between the first portion of the vision and the last. Where initially you have along the same line prior to the opening up of the heavens, you have this what is directly referred to as the way the seed was sown and the way the ground was prepared for the seed to be sown and how the seed was tended. The last age of Christianity has very much been defined by this same industrial mindset. So not for that former part of the conversation to be much of a distraction, because
I think it's good.
That has been brought out of the way that, if we want to know what the problem of the world is, we should really look at the way that the church is handling the ministry of God. Because whatever problem is there will show itself in the way the world is being governed. Because of God's ordained purpose for that to be the representation. Or the representative example. At least in a righteous way. So, in the dream you have this very proud man sitting.
That's not true. That's a vision.
I'm
so sorry.
You have a very proud man sitting on the bull with this device behind him, which does what? helps you be efficient.
Oh, yeah.
Helps you get a lot done at once.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, and in a sense, God has allowed it to a certain point, and God, in His mercy maybe, He has not conformed to man's way, but He has nonetheless continued to sow the seed.
Yes.
Even in the midst of man's misdirection.
Yes. I think is passing evangelism, evangelical movements.
Yeah, like the big crusade type movements.
Exactly.
Where we could use modern day farming and industry as a pretty straightforward example of how it has damaged the land.
Yeah.
Although it seems to produce a lot, it doesn't produce a quality that another way does.
Yeah.
So you have in the vision, it was the dove, sowing the seed, and then these hands covering it up. So you still have somewhat of the work, both of the spirit and the remnant. Where in the latter part of the dream, you have a man who is now positioned in a more humble state, and on not an unclean beast. I think that's very key.
Yeah.
And no longer with the plow.
Yeah.
Because he was assigned by the eagle, who placed the seed directly into his hand to sow it. Now, to me, that really is representative of God's order, apostolic order.
Yeah.
Prophetic from the eagle.
Yeah.
To the apostolic into the hand of that ministry, to the sowing in to the ground directly. And, it seems to me that there's a connection and discipleship there.
Yeah.
That order of, how the seed itself is transferred. One was, if we could use that word, by God's mercy, to keep the remnant. But this one is by God's order. So there's a grace that's given in that process.
I think it represents the church age and kingdom age, I'm speaking.
Because you have this huge dichotomy of the two. The kingdom age has to be fulfilled
and
in that order.
To define kingdom age, it's not kingdom reign, as millennium reign in a sense. So,
I think that's a key clarification.
Kingdom method, right?
Right.
Yeah. Or the kingdom culture operates.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In essence, even in this, when a king, before he is even maybe coronated as the king.
That's interesting. You mentioned in the middle this cloud thing is Revelation 12, the picture. Oh, that's perfect fit actually. So the sun company, we send like an eagle, and kind of vision, enforcement of God's grace.
Right.
It's crazy.
The fulfillment of it. So anyway, those are just some thoughts. There's a lot of it that continues to.
Yeah. The sowing the seed, you said it by eagle. You have further thoughts on that?
Well, if the eagle is representative of a few things, maybe primarily the Sun Company.
Yeah.
And then but the administration of.
Oh wow! It's all lined together, piece by piece for me. I'm so sorry.
Is that it comes?
Can I inject something?
Please.
Okay. Yeah. Before I met Prima, I just walk out. Walk out from John's place because they treated me dinner today. So I walked to meet them. So I go to my trailer to talk to Prima, and there are two Canada geese which I never heard before. I never know what they are. So just standing on that corner, to gradually move the direction of my trailer. While I was standing there. So, anyway, the Lord told me, well, that's a male and the female. They never separate. And then the, then oh, that Canada geese. Do you know they migrate? So I said, what? I never know they migrate. And I saw this two strange bird. I mean, the big birds. So that's very interesting. Canada geese suddenly caught my attention, something to do with Prima meeting, so.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So that's crazy. Okay, so So I was thinking. Then anyway, all lying together is reminding me the whole thing. As the moments later, right now you're talking about the Nicole, reminding me the sword, the eagle come out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the all turned to be a V-shape.
Right.
Migrating from like west to east or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Yeah. So, yeah. That's that. So.
Mm.
So lying together in the same sequence. So yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. So I was thinking. So they're all being dealt by the fire of the Lord. That's my point. The eagle company,
Right.
who are they? They are overcoming company every day. So yeah.